Hello and welcome to another edition of Better Informed. Today I am joined by Niral Jhaweri, our Head of Property Management. Niral, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you. Thanks, Rick, for inviting me.
Niral, firstly, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about our property management team?
Sure. So I have been with Better Homes for the last 10 years, and property management team, we have a team of about 50 plus people managing 7,000 properties across Dubai, Sharjah and Abu Dhabi. And it's a mix of commercial and residential, including individual units, villa compounds and buildings.
And it's a mix of landlord types, isn't it? So we've got landlords who own full buildings,
yes,
to landlords that own one or
corporate
two
institutions, yes.
From all over the world.
Yes. We also have financial sectors as well, yeah.
Fantastic, okay, great stuff. So we're obviously now still in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis, but what a lot of businesses and landlords, I presume, are doing is they're adapting to the new normal, they're adapting how they're approaching things. So perhaps could you tell us what sort of safety steps are landlords taking or should be taking in terms of their properties?
So we have residential landlords treating their properties like commercial properties and being more cautious. So we have implemented temperature checks of all visitors and tenants for most of our buildings. Then we have also the maintenance staff following the safety protocols when they enter the building or when they provide any service in the apartments. We also have regular sanitizing going on in buildings, which we've implemented. Plus, we have given PPE, kits to our staff as well, just to make sure that they use them with attendance.
Yeah, good. I know it's been the same for brokerage. So we obviously we let out a lot of properties that still have tenants in that have said that they're leaving, and quite rightly, a lot of those tenants are cautious about people entering their properties who they don't know. What we do is, well, as you know, we've supplied all our brokers with the relevant protective equipment, sanitisation, but where a tenant doesn't feel comfortable with letting somebody into their property, we've tried to be a little bit smarter and use some digital automation, some videos. At times we've asked tenants to do a video walkthrough for their property, try and generate some interest that way without actually physically going to the property. Is that something we've been doing in property management too?
Yes, so mostly now we just interact with the tenant in terms of moving in or moving out. But we were also doing routine inspections upon the renewals for the individual units. But for the last 3 months, yes, we respect the tenant sentiments because they do not want to allow someone, if that visit can be avoided. Yes, when it comes to maintenance request in their property, they are left with no choice. So then they do allow the maintenance company, but we are making sure that the maintenance company that we hire follow the necessary safety protocol.
Now, our property management teams have been on the front line of dealing with tenants and landlords over the last 3 months. And, sadly, a lot of tenants have been affected financially through salary reductions, through unpaid leave, and in some cases redundancies. What's your advice to a landlord who might have a tenant like that coming asking for some relief from them at the moment?
Our advice would be that take it on a case-to-case basis, evaluate the tenant situation and see if the tenant is genuinely affected, then definitely provide some flexibility in terms of giving holiday payments, flexible payments in terms of increasing the number of checks, rent-free period. I would really think that if the tenant is genuine and with a good history, then retain the tenant in the end.
I agree. I think we're all in this together. I think where we can, we should look to offer some help.
Yeah.
I know a lot of landlords and people I've spoken to have been able to themselves get some relief from their own banks. And we would encourage landlords to try and find that relief, that breathing space themselves, that they could potentially then offer some help. Yeah. Okay, great. And as well as dealing with requests from current tenants, I presume we've also got a number of landlords who are dealing with vacant properties at the moment and are trying to attract new tenants to their properties.
Yeah, right.
Do we have any advice for those?
I would say that if landlords right now, for tenants, there's a lot of options available. So if you want to make sure your property gets rented fast, make sure it's well maintained, cleaned, and the price is very much in line with the market, or be innovative, giving extra offers, like one of our landlords had offered to pay the move-in cost for the tenant, So things like these will definitely push their property and give the tenants an opportunity to give the first chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think think it's about being proactive in this market
Yes.
from a landlord's point of view. You know, gone are the days where you can leave a property not looking its best and then just give it a lick of paint once a tenant's taken it, because tenants are out there seeing lots of properties that are well maintained, and you know, frankly, why wouldn't they take one of those rather than something isn't?
Absolutely. Some of the landlords are of that mindset that, you know, I will leave some maintenance to be done. Once I find a tenant, I will do it. Yeah. But in this tough market where tenants have a lot of options, I would suggest that the landlord maintains their property, because the first impression is the last impression. So, yeah.
And in terms of payment schedules, are you seeing much change? I mean, probably one of the bigger bits of news over the last month from a large-scale landlord, Emirates, is that Emirates have changed their payment schedules for their staff from traditionally paying either 1 year or 6 months up front to paying on a monthly basis. Yes. And I know that's, again, around for many of our landlords, that's something they've had to get themselves used to. And is that something you're seeing more prevalent in the market?
Yes, I definitely gone are those days where the landlords were getting the privilege of getting the one check for the entire year. But yes, I think 4 checks are still in there, and there are very few landlords who get requests for monthly payments. So yeah, I would say give monthly payment options to existing tenants who you know them well, you know their background history. But I would otherwise suggest to stick to 4 checks. Yeah.
4. Okay, great, thank you. I'm actually delighted that one of our landlords has given his time to speak to you as well about his experiences over the last 3 months dealing with the COVID situation and his tenants. So let's hear what Mansoor has to say.
Yeah. Okay, Mansoor, good morning. Thank you so much to give your viewpoints as a landlord. And I'm sure in this situation, every landlord has a lot of questions in mind. So we said, let's ask you.
Sure. Thank you, Niral, for this interview. My advice for landlords, tenant retention. Mm-hmm. You cannot afford to lose tenants in these markets. As you have seen during the lockdown periods, there were hardly any movements going on. So it was difficult to even lease your properties. So you'll catch up people whose properties have loans or have commitments with banks, all of these. So I think tenant retention is really important. And other than that is cost management. In these times when market is bad, when things are going down, you cannot do anything. Things are out of your hand. The only thing a landlord can do is cost management. Look at his expenses, where he can cut some costs, and look at his business model. And as you see, every day businesses going out of business during this and going bankrupt. So as a landlord, how do you see your business or portfolio? Where do you see yourself surviving 6 months or 1 month, 1 year down the line? What things you have to do to change this?
Yeah. That's so true.
So I really think the real estate market is a big part of the economy, which is definitely going to change after COVID-19. We need to know how schools will do, how work will do. So these are all things which a landlord should think of as well.
Right. Thank you so much, Mansoor, for giving your time and your views. Thank you. Take care. Be safe.
Thank you, Niral. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Great, thank you for that, Mansoor. Really insightful. Final question for me, Niral. Do you have any last hints or tips for any landlords out there to help get through this current situation?
I think this situation has, laid more emphasis on why it's important to have a third-party mediator or a property manager to ensure that, the interest of the landlord and tenant is safeguarded, and the end result is a win-win situation for both the parties.
Absolutely. And that's what this is all about. This is making sure that our landlords and tenants get through this difficult time in the best possible way, and we continue long-term tenancy and long-term relationships between the two.
Right.
Great.
That's what we are for.
Absolutely. Niral, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to speak to you. And
thank you, Rick.
Thank you.